We went on a journey to the village where Sam was born, the village he left at the age of 7. It was a long trip, 9 hours on difficult roads. When we showed up, the whole village was there. Hundreds of people had gathered in a square. All the chiefs of the village had lined up at the front. They were all wearing traditional clothing. They had a table set up at the middle of this huge square where everybody was gathered, and it had 4 chairs for us. The whole atmosphere kind of changed. We started talking to, I guess it was a chief, about why we were there. And the younger crowd started protesting. They were getting up on the microphone saying, "Help us, we need your help now. Before you get into your cars, you have to help us." So I was scared. I'm Laura Thompson. I'm 23, a recent university graduate. This is the story of how I made it to Ghana to see the SOS village where my friend Samuel grew up. I wanted to help out. I wanted to make a difference. I never thought it would be easy to make such a commitment. But it turned out to be the test of a lifetime. I can't believe we're actually here in Ghana. We're finally in the SOS Children's Village in Tema where Sam grew up. All of this began 4 years ago, back at university, where I had so many questions for Sam about Africa.
So tell me about Ghana.
Finally, one day he had an idea of what I should do to get my answers.
So what's new?
Yeah, I got a postcard from SOS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they want me to go to Africa with a friend to show them about SOS in Ghana.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, I think you should write a letter to SOS.
Oh, so that I can come do it? I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
It's important for me to show Laura my world in Ghana because since I became friends with her, I have known the community where she lives. I know her parents. And for me, this would be like I'm reciprocating what she's made me experience about Canada.
The idea of going with Samuel to Ghana has already changed my ideas of what I'd like to pursue in school. I feel like I actually could make a difference. Dear Mr. McBride, while a student at York University, I had the privilege of becoming friends with one of SOS's scholarship students, Samuel Fwache, from the SOS Teme village in Ghana.
Must be Laura.
Nice to meet you.
Boyd McBride, great to meet you. And, well, my first impressions of you, just based on the wonderful letter that you wrote, suggest that you're going to have a great experience. And I have no doubt, Laura, that when you actually get into the village where Samuel has lived, you'll feel the power of the mission that drives our organization. So I wish you both all the best. I hope it's a wonderful chance to see and experience something which is almost beyond comprehension when you haven't had that chance yet. So thank you both so much for coming up to SOS Canada today. Our hope at SOS Canada is that both Samuel and Laura will bring back to Canada on their return here a few weeks hence a commitment to making a difference. This is the first opportunity she'll have had to spend time in a developing country, and in a country which is, although making great progress, still very poor. 1 in 3 children there still go to bed hungry every night. I'm afraid, of course, that she will be shocked and that it will take her several days to get over that initial shock at the conditions of poverty which she'll be exposed to. Beyond that, my hope is that she'll see, as any development worker does, the enormous strength and commitment that people in Ghana bring to the development challenges that they face.
So that's how this all began. All my questions led us to the doorstep of the Canadian offices of SOS Children's Villages in Ottawa.
This is our facts and figures, which basically...
They wanted our help in getting their story out to other Canadians.
Factual information about
We studied, we went on the internet, we talked and talked. My whole family was involved. And finally it was time to go. And here we are, right here in the middle of the SOS Children's Village in Tema, Ghana. I'm really impressed with this little village. It's definitely not Canada. Everything is at a basic standard. But thanks to SOS donors, there are some modern things, like music keyboards, running water and TV and electricity. More than 120 children live here, and they're all organized into houses. 15 houses in total. Each house contains a family of 8 children of all ages, and a house mother they call Mom. The village has one father, Mr. Chagley, whom all the children call Dad, and who oversees operations of the entire village. There's so much to see and learn here over the next few days. After that, we'll go on a journey to the village where Sam was born, the village he left at the age of 7. I think it's important for Sam to meet up with his birth family once again, and to show them everything that has happened to him. Sam says it's also important for me to see what Ghana is like outside of the SOS village. It will be a long trip, 9 hours on difficult roads, but it will be a great adventure. Today, the children did a welcome. It was a really nice afternoon, and everybody came out and everybody just kind of celebrated that we were here. And the rhythm that the kids have is just incredible, because you wouldn't see that kind of rhythm in, say, kids in Canada. These kids, they know different dances and songs, and just really incredible. And Mr. Chagley just welcomed us formally to the village.
It's a happy moment to welcome you, Samuel, and Laura, to Ghana. Samuel, welcome you back home, and you are back with your friend who also wants to know what goes on in the village and in the country. And Laura, this is your first time, I believe, in Ghana and in Africa. Okay, so when you go back, you have us in mind that you have friends down here in SOS Village, in Tema and Ghana in general. So once again, I say thank you for coming and welcome. Welcome, Laura. Thank you.
Today we took a tour around the village. Grade 9 class. We went to the clinic this morning, which was quite interesting actually. We saw some of the patients that were there. We spoke with the nurse and the doctor just about some of the needs of the clinic and what they had and what they didn't have. So I noticed that she was handing out the same drug most of the time, and it ended up being a drug for malaria. So she said that's something that they treat the most, is malaria. Another place that we went today was to see the children's music. We met a 7-year-old little child there that was playing arabesque on the piano. And just amazing, the level that they're at and how important they think music is because it's part of their culture. And they recognize how important music is to the development of children. Today I also had a chance to talk with Mr. Chegley about some of the issues here, and I got to ask him some questions that I think Canadians need to know about.
If people in Canada understand the difficulties, the challenges that face the people of Ghana, I think they will be better placed to want to help. Okay? And they should be concerned because if one part of the world is burning very soon, it's going to spread, the fire is going to spread to other parts of the world. We're talking about...
Sam and I had made a good beginning getting to know the SOS Village where he had grown up. There were many more things to learn and perhaps some chances for us to help out. But first we had to go on a mission. A very special mission to the place where Sam was born.
I'm looking forward to going to my home village tomorrow to see some family members I haven't seen for about 4 years. And we're going there to give Laura the opportunity to see a real village in Ghana.
I mean, even though it is a road trip and the roads aren't going to be good, it's still going to be an adventure. I'm looking forward to the things that we're going to see on the side of the road.
It was very different. Immediately right outside the SOS Village, you could see that it was very different. We stopped just to photograph a shanty town on the side of the highway. And that was when I first saw what it was really like here, outside of the SOS Village. That was the first time I had seen a shanty town, like a small village just made of huts and everything. So that was very hard for me to see. And I had to ask Samuel, actually. I said, is that where people lived? And he said yes. And then to the left of the village, you can see a big garbage pile. And there are animals on top grazing there, like goats and cows. And then you can see people walking on the garbage piles. That was really hard to see as well. So as we started to head towards Samuel's village, we started to come up to a truck carrying oil, barrels of oil, and they had all overturned on the side of the road. We noticed that kids were scooping up the oil with their hands because it was free and it was on the side of the road. I think that event made me realize the conditions that these kids are living in. They don't see environmental concerns. They have no sense of how destructive that can be and how bad that can be for their drinking water. It took a very long time to get to Samuel's village, Yalkrong. It took, I think, 15 hours with stopping. We had to stop a few times. 15 hours just driving, and we were in a very cramped car. So we were very tired when we got there.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this your village here?
Yeah, this is my village.
It's nice.
We are going to see my relatives.
We went to Sam's village first and met his family, and everyone came out to greet us. Nice to meet you. His sister's really nice and friendly, and Source and cousins and everyone. Nice to meet you. Laura, nice to meet you. And everyone came out and all the kids came out. I actually realized how many kids and how many people there were in the village. I didn't realize how many people there were. And they all came out to greet us. And as a presentation to us, they gave us Cokes and Fantas and Sprites. And you could tell that was very special to them, that meant a lot that they were giving it to us. And seeing the houses that they lived in was actually very shocking because they were made of earth and bamboo, and some were made of clay. They don't have electricity, which means no lights, nothing. It was just very shocking to me. At the end of the welcome, the kids actually got up and started dancing, which was really neat. Especially after seeing the conditions that they live in. But the kids are still happy and they're still having fun and they're still dancing and celebrating. And they're trying to teach me, but I just don't have the rhythm that they have. So that was really exciting. There was one boy sitting on his mother's lap on the porch that was crying. So we asked what was wrong with the boy's arm, and his mother said that he'd broken it. So we asked if he'd gone to the hospital, but of course the hospital is hours away from their village, so he hadn't. They went to see the village herbalist, and he had put herbs all down his arm to heal his arm. And I was trying to ask how they stabilized the bone, and I asked him if they have splints there. And he said, no, they don't have splints, they have herbs. I think the saddest thing was that the boy, it looked like the boy had been in pain so long that he was just too tired to cry. The next morning in Sam's uncle's village, Bodhi, we went to see some drumming. Drumming, celebration, everybody would be happy. Well, I just expected a group of people to be drumming for us. When we showed up, the whole village was there. Hundreds of people had gathered in a square. All the chiefs of the village had lined up at the front. They were all wearing traditional clothing. The middle of this huge square where everybody was gathered. They had a table set up and it had 4 chairs for us. The whole atmosphere kind of changed. We started talking to, I guess it was a chief, about why we were there. And the younger crowd started protesting. They were getting up on the microphone saying, help us, we need your help now. Before you get into your cars, you have to help us. So I was scared. The whole village was pleading for us to help them.
We know so many things. This place is a deprived area. We are therefore using this venue to plead with you. What help are you going to offer the town and the country as a whole?
And a man with polio came up. He was walking on his hands because he didn't have any use of his legs. And he was asking me for a wheelchair. Could I send him a wheelchair? They needed toilets, they needed roads, they needed hospitals. And it was so hard seeing all these people that needed things and I couldn't even help them. The whole day was just very overwhelming. I was just exhausted, like physically, emotionally, spiritually. It just drained me completely, the whole event. It's so good to be back in the SOS village in Tama. When I first came to Ghana, I had no idea of the huge problems faced by the Ghanaian people. The most basic things like sanitation and food supply are all a huge struggle. In the midst of that struggle, education and healthcare for the children are not priorities. But when I see the children in SOS Tama Village, I feel a sense of hope that while the problems are huge, there are ways to transform the lives of these children. They're so much healthier. They have a chance for a better future. Seeing the difference really made me understand how important SOS is to the children who come under its care.
We hope you have seen a few things that probably might shock you, some might interest you, and some might also set you thinking how privileged some people are than others. And we are glad that you are here to share in the joy of the moment with us. And we believe whatever you may have seen, heard, or noticed, you would take it back home with you and probably educate people to appreciate the problems of us in Africa in a much better way. And thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chegley's speech today really put things into perspective. I think the whole process of what's happened so far has made me, first of all, realize how privileged I am in Canada and how much we take for granted. But it's also made me respect the Ghanaians, especially in Sam's Village, for what they've made out of what they have.
So this is where they get their water?
They celebrate, they dance, they drum, they sing. So it's just really made me appreciate that how much strength they have. Canada doesn't know what Africa's like, so it is something that I hope to do when I get back to Canada, is spread the message of what it is like here. Perfect, thank you.
We're gonna go in and have some lunch. I'm gonna make some hash browns.
I'm looking forward to the art project. That's one of the main reasons why I'm here. To see these children color what they think is their idea of hope for the future. I'm also really looking forward to presenting the art to them that I brought from Updergrove, a small school that I went to when I was growing up. Some of the kids had drawn pictures of snow, just trying to teach the kids in Africa what Canada's like. And I'm going to have the kids here do the same thing for the kids in Updergrove. I'm going to try to make them feel like they know that kids across the world are just like them, and teach them a little bit about where they live so they can feel like they're more connected to kids across the world. But I'd also like to have the kids also do pictures of hope, whether it's for themselves, the world, their community, what their hopes are for the future. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with.